Key numbers continue to trend in the right direction in our state. Hospitalizations are still declining, but more than 47,000 people have tested positive for COVID-19 in Maryland. Now, as Avajoy Burnett reports, some experts are concerned after people started venturing out this Memorial Day weekend.
These are the images that popped up on social media and TV screens over the weekend. Practicing social distancing became a challenge as people packed into pools and bombarded boardwalks. This was a scene in Ocean City.
Have the kids have some fun and not have this ruin such a big holiday.
Hospitalizations are down in Maryland, but this is still the reality. More than 47,000 people have tested positive and 2,187 people have died. One of the state's youngest victims was 15-year-old Dariana Dyson.
Is that life is so fragile.
The governor remembered her in his Memorial Day message.
Just last week, we lost the first child in our state to the virus, a 15-year-old girl from Baltimore County. We pray for her family.
The governor and medical experts continue to urge people to practice social distancing. Monday, the state had to restrict access to some parks after they reached capacity. A study from Britain's Imperial College London suggested deaths could surge if lockdowns are lifted without caution. Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health echoed similar concerns.
No matter where a state is in the reopening process, people should continue to physical distance by at least 6 feet, staying at least 6 feet from each other when they're outside of their home, by wearing cloth masks when they're outside of their home in indoor spaces around other people.
What happens as states reopen has long been a concern for leaders. Here in the state of Maryland, the governor says he wants to expand testing and contact tracing. Avajoy Burnett for WJZ.
Despite protests and a plea from Baltimore's mayor, President Trump did visit Fort McHenry for Memorial Day. He arrived with the First Lady on Marine One shortly before noon, and hundreds of the president's supporters lined Fort Avenue, but could only get as far as the barricade. The president referenced the ongoing coronavirus crisis during his speech and the Star-Spangled Banner, which was drafted in Baltimore 205 years ago.
The annual Memorial Day tribute at Delaney Valley Memorial Gardens in Timonium was a bit different this year. The Gardens held a virtual ceremony on its website and Facebook page. The group still played taps, the bagpipes, and U.S. flags were placed on grave sites of veterans. And with parades canceled, one local man still wanted to show his appreciation. Edward Kitlowski, the director of the Naval Academy's Pipes and Drums Corps, held a mini parade in his Towson neighborhood. You can see he had a little help from some folks there. He had a bit of a following with people wearing masks, practicing some social distancing, and carrying the American flag.
A Maryland small business is stepping up in the fight against coronavirus, not just here in our state, but across the country. Kelsey Kushner explains the company was just awarded a multi-million-dollar contract by the government.
Instead of supplying products and services to soldiers, the company Federal Resources is now supplying gear to those fighting a different battle.
We were tasked to deliver 2 weeks, so 14 total days of supplies for over 15,000 nursing home locations for the workers.
The Maryland-based company was awarded a $134 million contract by the federal government, tasked with supplying more than 40 million pieces of PPE to 15,000 nursing homes across the country in just 60 days. Owner Robert McWilliams says each care package includes 1.2 million pairs of protective eyewear, 12.8 million medical gowns, more than 13 million masks, and 64.4 million pairs of gloves.
Because the demand and the supply and the raw materials change so rapidly, we on the fly have to find new manufacturers and vet new products almost daily to keep our supply chain going.
McWilliams called the contract monumental for business, saying it's all hands on deck. His workers are now on the clock 24 hours a day, pushing to get their hands on gear to be packed up and distributed. He says it's important during a time like this, they support those who need it most.
We see the sacrifice they make, and we absolutely are putting in the time and effort to make that sacrifice to get the equipment in their hands to do their jobs more safely, effectively, and efficiently.
Kelsey Kushner reporting for WJZ.
A local company shares good news about a coronavirus vaccine. Rockville-based Novavac started human trials of its potential vaccine in Australia. 131 volunteers will take part in the first phase, testing the vaccine's safety and effectiveness. The company says if it works, the vaccine should be ready for mass distribution by the end of the year. A new Gonzales poll is out this morning, and Marylanders were asked about issues surrounding the coronavirus pandemic. Vic Carter breaks down the results.
The coronavirus pandemic has dramatically changed life in the U.S. and here in Maryland. A new Gonzales poll asked Marylanders to weigh in on several issues. Statewide, 22% say the restrictions put in place in March to prevent the coronavirus from spreading have gone too far. 15% say the restrictions haven't gone far enough. 63% say they've been about right. According to the poll, 57% of Marylanders are worried about becoming infected with COVID-19, while 41% are not concerned. When it comes to the economy, 53% across the state say that they or someone close to them has lost a job or had income reduced due to the crisis. Meanwhile, Governor Larry Hogan's approval rating has increased 8 points in the past 3 months. Among voters, 78% approve of the job the governor is doing, while only 18% disapprove.
The Gonzales poll surveyed 810 registered voters in Maryland between May 19th and May 23rd and has a margin of error of plus or minus 3.5%. I'm Vic Carter. Now back to you.
WJZ has everything you need to know about the coronavirus pandemic, including resources for unemployment, where to get tested, and basic facts. Go to WJZ.com and look under top stories for a list of resources.